Welcome to the Higher Ed Demand Gen podcast, helping higher education marketing leaders share knowledge about learning, strategies, and tactics that are relevant today. See what you can learn today by listening to one of our episodes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Higher Ed Demand Gen podcast, hosted by Concept 3D. Today, I'm very excited to be talking about Coach Prime and breaking the cycle in higher ed marketing. And for that conversation, we have an amazing guest here with us live at AMA here, Jennifer Schufer. She is the Assistant Vice Chancellor of Marketing and Content Strategy at University of Colorado Boulder, which is also my alma mater. So I'm really excited to talk to you today. And again, we're live at AMA Symposium in Chicago. So this is going to be a really exciting conversation, and I'm really stoked to have you. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to talk to you too. It's always fun to see what our alums are doing, and
We're doing podcasts.
we're doing podcasts.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I actually went to the game on Saturday before coming here.
I know. I'm so sorry.
I told all my friends this, but I talked to you, and I got so excited after that I texted all my friends like, "Hey, are you guys going to the game?" I'm not kidding. That's literally what happened.
Pretty excited game though.
Yeah, but you told me about how alive the campus is now, and I had to see it for myself.
Yeah.
And you were right.
There is a lot of energy.
I've never seen the crowd the stands that full.
Yes.
Crowd, so
it's very energizing right now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I do ask all my guests on the podcast this question, which is an icebreaker.
Okay.
What do you love about higher ed?
Oh, I mean, higher ed is such a special place to be able to do marketing. So very mission driven, and I don't know. There's just a lot. There's a lot of special, and the mission of helping people find the place for higher education is heavy. There's a lot of responsibility to it, but it's so life changing, and you never know how it's going to catalyze you into your career or your life. And it's a really exciting place to be.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Can you kind of relate it to that? Can you tell us a little bit more about your role and your time at CU as well?
Sure. So I've been at CU since 2006, and I started as their associate director for recruitment in the Office of Admissions.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, as part of that role, I had about 30 people reporting to me. I did application reading, traveling, call center, visit programs, big events. All of those things were part and parcel to that position.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was asked to start an embedded marketing and communications team in admissions. And we did that starting in 2010 and grew that team to be about 10 people. And we did everything from really strategic marketing, so pulling all the pieces together, not just doing printed material, not just sending an email, but how do all of the pieces integrate and work together with, the mission of driving awareness, and then also getting students to apply and know if this is the right place for you to attend. And then just before the pandemic hit, my whole admissions team moved into the central office for marketing and communications. And so we joined in with our multimedia producers, our content writers, graphic designers, web, UX, UI, and that's really the team that I lead now. Is focused on marketing and content strategy, not just for recruitment and enrollment, but broadly for the whole campus, and all of the partnership and matrixing and collaboration that needs to happen across campus to make marketing and content strategy happen.
How big is your team now?
I have about 22-ish people that are on my team now.
That's amazing. And what do you think, having this background in recruitment and enrollment, how do you have a fresh perspective or a lens, do you think, coming into the central marketing team?
What I bring is all the years of student service work that I have done. So I've always been thinking about the student. So from an audience perspective, making sure that the student sits at the center of every decision that you make, and that what it is that we are doing as content creators is in support of the student. One of the things that I've mentioned to my team before is, we're sort of the narrator on the student's journey. And we're
Mm,
sort of nudging, we may be whispering in their ears, helping them understand what might be the next right step. And so that's where I feel a really big responsibility, not just to the brand, but also to the student's experience with the brand, and how are we facilitating that, and how are we cultivating that using marketing, using communication as a tool to facilitate their success.
mhm.
So at the end of the day, if the student is not successful, then we haven't done our job. We've failed.
Right.
And that's where, I find this a pretty, there's a lot of responsibility that goes around
Mhm.
to doing marketing communication at a university. It's not, for profit, it's for helping people successfully earn that degree or whatever credential it is that they're working on at that point in time.
Yeah. Do you have like an example of something that shifted in the last 6 or 10 years since you've taken on the new role and responsibility, around like how you've changed this focus on the student centric journey?
Last academic year, we really worked to create a new student communication model
Okay.
where it has, I think, 7 concentric rings. And we have the student at the center, and key to their journey is what their faculty and their advisors are doing to help them
Hmm.
understand and navigate the academic part of their experience. And then the next circle out is their college, school, or program. And then the next circle out from there is more like the business offices, and we kind of just move out from there. And so, in talking about that student communication model, it was, well, what are the communication tools that a faculty member and advisor would use?
Hmm.
What sort of tools, templates, and trainings do those messengers need in order to speak directly to the students? And then on the flip side, how do we cut back on the noise
Yep.
of all the other circles so that the student can really at their core understand, what does my advisor, my faculty member, what are they asking me to do in order to be successful in my current coursework? And then how do we then sort of quiet the other pieces of communication content that everybody wants to talk about? Join the band and do this and do that,
Hmm.
but really they're here for their education. How do you balance all those pieces? So we spent all of last year really explaining the communication model and really helping people understand. And then this academic year, what we did was put together toolkits for our communicators who are
Right.
in our college, schools, and programs, to say things like, hey, we know you want to talk about suicide prevention. Let us give you the content and some templates that you can take the content that the health and wellness experts have written. So it's appropriate, it's
Hmm.
tried and true to the health industry, and you can use this content. And that's really helped kind of create more continuity around what we want to say as an institution about suicide prevention. So that's just one example how we built the model. Now we're trying to execute on that model.
That's fantastic. And I know in our past conversation, in our introduction conversation, one of your main goals, high level goals, is working on your student persistence, right?
Mhm.
Making sure students persist through their education. And it sounds like, exactly what you're doing. The example you just gave me is to help promote
Yes,
persistence, right?
yes. Because if we want to make sure that all
Hmm.
students understand their options,
Right.
understanding, student development theory, that not everybody is ready to hear about this one thing at this point in time, there's a lot of work to produce the content, store the content, and then have it accessible to student when they are ready for it,
Right.
rather than just continually blasting things over and over and over again. And again, we're kind of the narrators for them, and we're helping them
Hmm.
kind of understand how to navigate this thing that they've never navigated before.
Hmm.
And how do we help them read the signposts and make
Right.
sure that they see what could be coming next when they're ready for it?
At CU Boulder, who's directly responsible with student persistence? Does it fall more into student success teams or?
It's really everybody at the university
Okay.
is responsible for student success.
Uh-huh.
And because we all add to the success of students in our
Right.
own way. So the Office of Undergraduate Education has a role to play.
Uh-huh.
Our advising teams have a role to play. communication has a role to play.
Right.
Registrar's office has a role to play. And it's making sure that everybody plays their role at the right time and that we're not all trying to do the same
Right.
work in each space. And the university shares that responsibility. And this is a really big goal for our executive leadership
Right.
is to unify campus around student success. What does that mean? And what parts of student success are we focusing on? Health and wellness is a really big focal point for the university. And how are we helping students with mental health? How are we helping them be aware of the resources that are available? And how are we not adding on to them feeling stressed and,
Right.
degrading their mental health? We're really trying to help.
How have you, I know it's a work in progress, right? It's always going to be, but what have been some ways that have helped create that alignment? Because I think student persistence is, something every school is really trying to work
Absolutely
towards right now.
So I think what we're doing, I mean, it's not a grassroots effort, right? It's not going to come from the bottom up.
Okay.
And it's really alignment across, from the chancellor to the provost to the chief operating officer, and then all the people that report to them really being engaged in the conversation of student success and unifying how we're defining it and how we are approaching it. And really, having those conversations to say, okay, this is what we're doing in the college, schools, and programs. This is what we're doing in academic affairs. This is what we're doing in student affairs and communication. And so everybody's playing their role, but the conversation is being had collectively and not in individual silos. And that's really how you begin to matrix a very complex place and get everybody to move towards the same thing.
Gotcha. And who ultimately I don't know if this is the right way to say, but calls the shots, right? Like it's like everyone has their idea, like we should, be doing this. Does it come down to the senior executive leadership level, or how does that process work?
I think, you have Catherine Egger, who is, I think, our senior associate vice provost.
Okay.
And, she is charged by the provost to lead our Buff undergraduate success program.
Okay.
And then we have what's called bus drivers, because Buff undergraduate success comes down to bus. And so we have bus drivers, and we have our folks from the lead from enrollment management, communications, technology, and student affairs. There are bus drivers. And then there's the rest of us who feed into different committees. And that initiative that the chancellor gave us 2-3 years ago is really what is focusing the campus. And so the decision making happens, in individual committees, and then it rolls its way up. And then Catherine helps move things on the academic affairs side. And then we have our folks on the administrative side that are working together to make it happen. So I think there's lots of agency within individual committees, but then there's also, if people get stuck, there are people very high up in the organization who are able to make those calls and say, this is what we're going to do.
Gotcha. Thanks for sharing that in detail. That's really helpful. And I know, I guess one thing I want to make clear is does you have a application issue? Is it a problem for you? A lot of schools saw a reduction in applications over the last couple of years, and I wanted to ask where you are at with that.
Yeah, so CU Boulder is really fortunate in that it doesn't have an application problem.
Okay.
We do really well in generating interest in the university and in applications. I think what gets complicated is, as students make their way through the journey and they try on the university, really helping the right students find the right fit. There's a lot of reasons for application increases. Going to the common application, it's easy for people to apply to multiple schools.
Yes.
It's not as laborious. We also now have a free application, couple of days in the state of Colorado. And so you remove the fee barrier, and that increases applications. And so, my enrollment management colleagues, would say that it's not easy to get applications. You have to earn the student's application.
Yes.
But from a strictly numbers perspective, no, that's not the hard part of the funnel for us.
Gotcha. And that makes sense now that you're really trying to focus on helping the student success and student attention, right? Yeah. So that's fantastic. I think one thing you shared in our intro call that I really liked what you mentioned is about you going kind of earlier back to our conversation about reducing some of the noise and communication.
Mhm.
You also thought that this could, in the student's journey, not only does this help the student, but it actually helps the business side of things as well, and how it could reduce inefficiencies and even like not have to raise costs by improving these programs as well. Like, I think you had a point on that that I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. So, as you get more sophisticated in your technology
Uh-huh.
stack, and so, what sort of marketing and communication tools do you bring in to align how you're doing communication, how accessible data is, how you are governing both your technology and your content.
Hmm.
It makes it a little bit simpler for staff to be able to do
Right.
the work, which means that you can be more efficient and you can have broader impact. And when you have a lot of manual processes, it takes up a lot of staff time. And there are definitely efficiencies to be had around using and leveraging technology to make things more impactful and more efficient for staff, which at the end of the day should reduce costs for students, or at least hold costs at bay, because you don't have to keep adding and adding and adding, because the technology can be leveraged in a way to help them.
That's great. And this kind of goes to the topic around breaking the cycle as
Mhm.
well, right?
Yeah. And breaking the cycle of people working in silos. And a lot of the work that we're doing right now is focused on content strategy and being ready to leverage the technologies that the university is investing in, so that we can move towards advanced personalization,
Hmm.
which means you build the content. We'll be building content in a very different way than we do right now. It
Hmm.
won't be like synthesized in by project. It'll be, this is the type of content we need to develop about cost of attendance, and you build all the content around cost of attendance. You put it in a content management system, and then as the
Mm.
student is ready for that information on whatever channel, the technology is set up to get that content to the student at the
The
right
right
time.
time. Gotcha.
And the only way that you can do that is through working really hard with your colleagues, and you can't be siloed. You have to do that collaborative work. You have to work closely with colleagues all over the campus. You cannot take your ball and go home. You
Right.
have to really work hard on relationships in order to make that to happen. And if we don't, like, if the grown-ups in the room can't figure out how to work together, the students are really going to suffer.
Hmm.
And their inability to persist is really on us, because we can't come together and work together, which does not seem like that's going to be the case at all. We have really great colleagues, and everybody's really hungry for a lot of this change that we're embarking on, and it should really help benefit both staff and students, and at the brand as well. If the
Yeah.
experience is better than the brand engagement, it should get better too.
As an alum, that gets me really excited. That's good to
That's
hear.
awesome.
That's so awesome. Well, switching gears a little bit, but still related.
Mhm.
So there's Coach Prime now, right? With the
Yes. Yes.
CU Boulder football team. There's a lot of press. A lot of people know about Coach Prime now and the Prime effect.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering what the Prime effect has been on you and your social marketing team.
Sure. So I think for the most part, the prime effect has really impacted mostly my strategic communication colleagues and
Hmm.
colleagues in uh, that area that work directly with athletics.
Okay.
The athletics department has their own marketing folks who have
Right.
probably been more directly impacted, who
Hmm.
have been more directly impacted than the central marketing team. Where we have started to come in a little bit is as you would imagine, the volume of new visitors to the website, the number of new followers to our channels has really gone through
Right.
the roof. And so we have um, trying to capitalize a little bit on that awareness in
Hmm.
this moment in time, which we may never have again. I mean, this is
It's a unicorn.
it really is.
Yeah.
It's a very, very unique moment, and so we've tried to do some campaigns
Uh-huh.
to broaden awareness of research and some of the high caliber work that our faculty are doing, to kind of test out and see how do these new audiences engage with that content? Do they find it useful? And so we've been playing around a little bit and testing some things out.
How crazy are the numbers in terms of website traffic increases? I know how much the CU Buffalo's Instagram account grew
Yeah.
by, but I wonder what the compounding effects have been.
I want to say that views to the homepage were up like 500%.
500?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Bananas.
That's incredible. Okay, wow. And that's just to like the main Marcom website, right?
Colorado.edu.
Wow. Okay. And so what comes with that is like, what do you do with the traffic, right? Like, where do you take them? How do you segment the audience? Are they coming to learn more about the football athletic program? Are they interested in your school? Because are those some of the questions you're asking yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
But the infrastructure is an important piece to
Right.
funneling people to the right places.
Right.
And so we have been very intentional with the way that we've
Mhm.
used the advertising and where we're pointing people, because the numbers to the homepage were after the first two games, I think is what we were
Right.
seeing the huge increase. And then we decided to like, let's see what we can do with some advertising and some marketing on top of what's happening. But we didn't drive people to the homepage. We drove them to a very intentional site and curated that content and that experience in a specific way, rather than just leaving them on the homepage to fend for themselves.
That's interesting. And so it sounds like what I'm hearing kind of is there is a shiny object syndrome, obviously, but like you're trying to keep it actually at a very analytical, considerable like approach because
Yes.
you can't let it just be everything that you have.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, the university, right, is an academic institution.
Right.
Yes, there is a lot of energy and excitement.
Mhm.
It's almost as if he's awoken something that has been dormant for a really long time.
Yes.
That's what it
Yes.
feels like. I've been on campus for 17 years and I've never felt it like this before.
Mhm.
And there is just a lot of excitement around campus. And so, yeah, really wanting to test out, like I said, research messaging.
Mhm.
CU's really, really, really good in space,
Mhm.
climate and sustainability
Right.
efforts. And so we wanted to, with this general population that is brand new to us from all
Right.
over the country, how do they respond to marketing messages in that space? Because even though we do
Mhm.
really amazing research, we're not as well known as we should be.
Like
So,
nationally, yeah. I mean, I was an engineering student for 1 year before I changed majors, but it was impressive. It's just like the facilities, like that's what got me going.
yeah,
They have crazy labs.
we have like
Leeds Business School is
yeah.
that was where I wanted to go, but
Mhm.
it's an amazing school as well. I have a lot of friends who graduated from their program, and so yeah, I think there's a lot of impressive schools and units within the school. So
Yes, for sure.
that's good. And hopefully, what I'm hearing is, hopefully some of this effect will compound into supporting those schools and research a little bit more as well.
Well, do you mean directly from a funding perspective?
More for awareness, I would say,
Okay.
to learn about like the
Yeah.
school, and then they'll be able
Yes.
to learn about their respective
Exactly.
programs.
So just, stoking
Yeah.
that curiosity, like,
Mhm.
oh, I didn't even know that that was a
Right.
thing. And where does that take them from there?
Yeah. And I know we already talked about this before, but I was watching ESPN or something on the Prime effect, and they showed 4 bullet points. A lot of them were donation related or the Instagram increase in followers for the CU Buffaloes team, but one was around applications, and it
Yep.
said there's a 41% increase in applications already. I know you refuted that yet, and we won't know the final numbers till later this week, or at least you won't know the final numbers this week. But yeah, we're still unsure about its effects on applications. Is that correct?
Yeah. I would say it takes a long time to earn an application.
Yep.
And I think that it'll be interesting to see. And our first deadline is
Mhm.
Wednesday, and then the second deadline is in January. But with that increase, there's always a curiosity of, is that increase a real increase?
Uh-huh.
Or did we just have students apply earlier because they were super excited by what was happening
Yep.
in September and October? And so, what really is the net new
Mhm.
applications? And so, we won't really know, where that lands until
Right.
later this week, and then again in January once we have our second application deadline
Mhm.
and complete for the fall. So it would be exciting for sure,
Right.
but I don't know if the excitement again is generating new applications, or if it's just generating excitement about applying early.
Sounds like we need to do another episode in a few months, is what I'm hearing.
For sure.
And yeah, there's other things going on, right? I think you're starting to look into the potential impact on the local community as well. And these are all really interesting things that I want to circle back on.
Yeah, for sure. The local community impact, and it's not just Boulder itself,
Right.
but the hotels and restaurants that are in surrounding cities like Longmont and Louisville. They're cool. Seeing an increase in people going into bars and restaurants. People are staying overflow from Boulder, staying in Longmont hotels, and that's increasing economies around there, and a lot of new visitors. The chambers of commerce and the visitor bureaus are in tune with kind of the prime effect and what's happening there.
It's definitely affected traffic as well. I experienced it firsthand on Saturday.
Yeah. Yes.
That was interesting.
My husband and I went to the Stanford game, and we parked off campus and walked in because we didn't want to have to battle the traffic. But it's a good thing. Smart. Good thing for the campus. It's a good thing for the city and for folks.
And so, as we look, I know, we're nearing the end of the year, 2023. What are some things you're looking forward to in 2024 from CU Boulder perspective, or it could just be from a higher ed marketing perspective?
Yeah. So I think for what I'm really focused on kind of going into 2024 is how we're going to leverage the technology the technology investments that we are putting into place, and how content strategy is going to need to be built. We're doing a lot of work around the framework of our brand and where that needs to move and evolve as we're moving into more advanced personalization. So learning the new technologies, the capabilities of the technologies, and how do we need to approach govern content, and how is that going to work across the university? Really interested in how all those pieces begin to come together. And I think that's a really huge step forward in having a university-wide integrated marketing and communication plan. And so all of the stars seem to be aligning in a really interesting way, and we might actually pull it off. And I think there's a lot of hard work still to do, but that is what I am most excited about in more the marketing space. And then I would say in the other space, we're working on shared equity leadership, and that is really exciting as well. And I'm looking forward to just being on the journey of where those conversations take leaders around campus, and how can we use shared equity leadership to impact the decisions we're making about technology and content and how we govern it, and all of that. I think it's going to be really exciting to see all these pieces come to play together for the benefit of student success.
That's amazing. And that's like more at the strategic planning level, at the executive level, or the school strategic planning?
The shared equity leadership? No, that's campus wide.
Okay.
And so that's going across campus and then down into leadership positions. And this has been a lot of hard work by our diversity, equity, and inclusion office. And we've been on a journey for a couple of years now, and it's really starting to activate and kind of bake down into the university. So really exciting.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing so much.
You bet.
Your insights and everything. It's been great. I'm wondering where our listeners could follow up with you to understand what you're up to or what CU's up to.
So you can always find me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to talk to folks if you have questions about content strategy or any of those pieces, or what kind of technology we're starting to dig into. LinkedIn's probably the best spot.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining the show today.
Welcome.
I know we got 2 more days of AMA left, so I'm really excited to attend some more sessions. So it should be fun.
Yeah, it's a great conference. I've been coming for a really long time, and I always walk away really energized and informed. They do a really great job vetting both folks that are here in the vendor space, but then also in the sessions that they are providing to folks. So, yeah.
Well, shout out to AMA Higher Ed.
Yes,
Thank you.
for sure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.